Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chad with CD Shave, and thank you very much for joining me. Tonight's face shave is going to be on not a soap review, not a product review. It's actually going to be on technique. I just got out of the shower. Face is nice and hydrated, ready to go. I got a couple of days worth of growth. We're going to go over on how I do a face shave. I've been asked this a couple of times. Some people asked me how to do if I could do a tutorial. So I'm going to do just that. Here's the thing. This tutorial is only a tutorial on how I do my face shaves. I do not expect or recommend this per se to anybody else, unless of course it works for them. So here's what I do recommend. I think you should take this tutorial, go through it, take the stuff that you think might help you, and try it out. Take some of it, take none of it, take parts of it. Either way, I hope this helps you in some way, shape, or form. So, also with that, in the description below, I'm going to divide the shave up into chapters. So if you want to see how I do my post-shave, but you're pretty much all set with the rest of your shave, you can skip ahead to the time that's listed and watch the post-shave there. All right, some of you are probably interested, so let's talk about the gear. We're going to be shaving with, I just had it bloomed here, Barrister & Man's Lavender, my CD shaving bowl. For the brush, we're going to be using the Decepticon brush, Synthetic Knot. And for the mowing of the face, we're going to be using Mule R41 with a feather blade on its third use. That has been soaking in the sink because I like my razor to be warm. I don't like putting a cold razor on a warm face. Also, always have a towel nearby so I can dry my hands as I go throughout the shave, and I have an Allen block. Some people use an Allen block to rub on their face after the shave, as they use it as an astringent or to kill bacteria or to give them feedback on where they shave too close. I don't use it for that. I use it for grippage. Fingers get a little slick, I rub them back and forth in the Allen block. It takes the viscosity right out of whatever it is I'm shaving with that has gotten on my fingers, and, well, my fingers are sticky like Spider-Man after that. So I keep that nearby. So the first things first, I came out of the shower, head's still a little wet, face still a little wet, so we're good there. We're going to go ahead and throw a little bit of water on our face just for good measure. Take the brush. I'm going to wring the water out just a tad. Not too much, but just enough to where the tips are wet. I'm not going to go too crazy with wringing out the water, but I don't want to leave a knot in there because I can always add water. Taking water out is a little bit harder. So then I go right into my lather. I don't do a whole lot in regards to face prep other than wash my face in the shower, and I use something either by Noxzema or Nivea, something to really get the oil out of my skin because I tend to have oily skin. So this is a tad dry, which is totally fine. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it. Here we go. And this is a good time to do this while you put your razor, at least while I put my razor in the water, and let the razor heat up while I do up my lather and get it ready to go. Plenty of lather there for a face shave. Now, speaking of the face shave, let's take a minute and talk about mine. So I do a total of 5 passes. A lot of you may kind of say, that's a lot, isn't it? CD, you're going to shave your face right off. Not really. I always start with the grain pass. I do 2 cross grains, one in one direction, the other one in the other direction. And then I go against the grain, and then a cleanup pass. That's really all there is to it. So, and if you do it the right way, in my opinion, it's really not overkill, and it doesn't take that long. This is going to take a long time to do this video because I'm talking throughout a lot of it, so it's going to take longer than it usually does for me. Also, before we even get into the shave, if you're first time you're ever wet shaving and you got yourself a DE razor, you're ready to rock and roll, you think you're going to go for it, map your face. If you haven't mapped your face, do that. No, you do not need GPS or Google to do that. So, wet face. All mapping the face is figuring out which way the hair grows. You want to find out which way is against the grain and which way is with the grain. That way you can decide when to shave and in what direction. Some people can go right on their face first pass and go against the grain and they're fine. I can't do that. I have tried that. It doesn't work out well for me. So by knowing which way my hair grows, like in this, I can tell you my hair kind of grows down and out this way. My mustache goes down and out this way. My chin, like the sides grow this way. The chin kind of grows down and then out. And then here, it grows out this way. So when I do across my neck this way, this is actually against the grain for me on my neck. But we'll get into that later on. So once you've mapped your face and you know which way the direction of the hair is going, that's going to help you deciding which pass to do first. For me, I always go with the grain. Here's the thing. Some people say, why do you do so many passes? Why do you shave in different directions? Why not just go against the grain? Well, like I said before, some people can't handle that. The other thing too is something called progressive hair reduction, okay? Think of it like mowing your grass. What happens if you go a week long and you don't mow the grass and it's rained all week, and then you go to mow it? It's like 6 inches high. If you take a walk behind mower out there and you try to mow that at its lowest setting, you're gonna have a hard time. It's gonna dull the blade. The grass isn't gonna cut evenly, if at all, and it's gonna clog up the blade and probably stall the motor. So it just sucks all the way around. The way to cut the grass, usually for something like that, is you raise the deck to its highest setting, make a pass, come back, drop it lower, make a pass, and keep going until you get the desired height, right? At least that's how I've always done it. Your facial hair is the same way. Make it or cut it in progressive reduction. Go with the grain, or I always start with the grain no matter what. If I'm not going to go for a baby butt smooth face, BBS, I'm going to just do a couple of passes. I'll do with the grain and maybe a couple of cross grades and call it done. I want it everything nice and smooth like glass. I'm going to do it all my passes that I do, including against the grain and a cleanup pass. So that's the reason behind why I do what I do. Now let's see what I do. All right, we've got this going. We're gonna wet our face a little bit because it's starting to dry. First lather is always the most important for me. I really get it good. I really take my time and make it nice and slick, and because this is where I'm gonna take, the first one's always the most important for me. This is where it takes a lot of the hair off, and it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the shave. So we're gonna lather our face, and we'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, we're back. As you can see, the lather's been put on. It's pretty thick, ready to go. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to provide slickness. Especially if this is the first time you've ever wet shaved. The lathers aren't necessarily going to be perfect. All right, the razor's been soaking in the water. This is going to be our with the grain pass. I always start by pulling the skin up on my head like this. If you have hair up there, you can kind of maybe start by shaving a little bit down like this first, and then grabbing the skin and pulling there. If your fingers are slick and you need that extra grip, again, Allen Block's good for that. You can rub your fingers back and forth, and it'll help by grabbing that skin. Now, as far as the actual pass is concerned, safety razors, as you can see, especially if they're double-edged, you can shave on each side. You don't want to shave like this on the skin, and you don't want to shave like this. Either way, it's not going to work. You want about like this. You want that blade to be touching the skin just enough to where it shaves it, and that's about a 30-degree angle, give or take. As you shave, you're going to learn what the angle is that's best for you, that works the best for you. Some people will kind of come way out here. It all depends on the type of razor you have, sometimes the type of blade, and the type of skin, where the contours are, and so on and so forth. The only way you're really going to learn that is through practice. All right, pulling the skin up, put that razor right on the skin, bring it out 30 degrees, and just start shaving. Now, if you're worried about cutting yourself, worry about cutting yourself, because you probably will. You're not going to die. I see a lot of people that start this and they think, oh, it's going to be a bloodbath. Oh, I'm so nervous. It's like anything else. You're going to learn. You're going to make mistakes. You have to learn to see what works for you. All right, just like this. And again, because I mapped my hair, I know which way is with the grain. Okay? Now, wrist position. Do not take the razor and do this with it. Keep that wrist locked as if there's a cast on it and you want to shave. Keeping that wrist locked. So, again, from this side, I'm holding that wrist. All with the grain. I'm going to rinse my face and get ready to reapply. I don't need to wash everything off, just kind of give it a once over. Yeah, just like that. Really nice, good first pass. I can still feel stubble, but a lot of it's been taken off. I mean, this is pretty much presentable right now. So, pass number 2. All right, pass number 2 is my first cross grain. I'm going to go in the direction of my ears to my nose, in this direction, except for when I get onto my neck, which this is against the grain for me, so I'm going to kind of go at an angle like that. Again, reach around, pull that ear. Yeah, reach around. Take the blade, or the razor rather, put it flat against your face, turn it to that 30-degree angle, and shave. Now, some people listen to music when they shave. Some people do not. I recommend at first you don't until you get the feel for it, or you know what you're listening for. But eventually, I recommend you do listen to the music while you shave. Some people say not to because they require the audio feedback when you shave. Hear that? Very important, but so is the feel. I can hear it, but I've been doing this long enough where I can hear it even if I have music playing, because I can hear it in my ears and in my head with the vibration. The vibration. That's my next point. You don't just want to, again, see how I'm doing this? You don't just want to hear that razor, you want to feel it. I believe it was Marky Mark that said, feel the vibration. Well, that's what you want to feel. You want to be able to feel the razor blade cutting, so you know what to feel for. And you can almost tell whether it's cutting just by the way it feels. Now, understand, not all passes are meant for all different parts of the face. For instance, this cross grain, I do it on both sides, but when I get to here, I really don't remove a lot of the facial hair here until I go against the grain. So although this takes away some, it doesn't take away all, but that's the whole point of progressive hair reduction. Let's rinse off, lather up, and go for the third pass. All right. Pass number 3. This time I start in the middle of my face and I go out this way. There are other ways to do cross grains. Some people start this way and go all the way across their face at once, then relather and go all the way across their face this way. Either way is fine, whichever way works for you. For me, I like doing it this way. Remember, maintaining that angle. Here, I'll do it with the other hand just so you can see it. couple of swipes, and then rinse. Every razor is different. Some razors, you can't go that many swipes before you gotta rinse it off. All depends on the razor. All depends on the amount of stubble you have. Your mileage may vary. Again, you can tell by feeling too. I can tell when this razor is starting to clog up based on the feel. Other side. Don't be afraid to contort your face in order to get to certain angles. Any one of those will do. All right. Second cross grain's done. Let's rinse our face and go into the third pass, the fourth pass, which would be the against the grain. Okay. Against the grain. Pull the skin, same thing, just maintain that 30-degree angle. And I'm going to kind of go up into an angle almost. Try to remember not to contort your face while you're shaving. All right. The fifth pass is known as the cleanup pass. At least for me it is. And this is for two reasons. One, I start cleaning up my area, brush and so on and so forth in the bowl. And two, I clean up the areas of my face that I may have missed. And this is pretty smooth. I got a little bit here, a little bit on my neck that I got to get still. And I'm going to get that with what I call, what's known as a buffing motion. If you've ever sanded a piece of wood, use a really high heavy grain like at the beginning, and then you use a fine grit towards the end. And same thing with here. You're going to take the razor, and you're going to buff it back and forth, up and down, without it leaving your skin. Instead of doing this, taking it off, taking it off, and swapping it, you're just going to kind of buff it, just like you would do with finishing a piece of wood. Part of the cleanup pass, I'm squeezing the lather out of the brush. I'm not cinching on it and pulling on that. You're going to end up pulling the knot out if you keep doing that. Just pull a little bit out. That's a sign of a good lather right there. Lavender, I love this stuff. All right. I take whatever's in the bowl and scoop it out, which usually isn't much at this point. Allen block. And then I'm just going to take this hand and kind of just rub some of the cream around. Feel for the areas that I want to get. All right, let's rinse off our face. All right, then take the towel, wipe your hands. As far as your face is concerned, if I wipe my face like this, it bothers it, so I do a little bit different. I kind of pull here and pull. There. And there we go. Perfect. Awesome shave. No complaints. A little bit of irritation down here. I get that on the bottom of my neck now and again, but it'll probably calm itself down after I throw in some witch hazel. Which brings us into the post-shave. Post-shave, what I do after I rinse my face off, I get all that soap off. That's very important. Get all the soap off, And then as I'm draining the sink, I take my brush and I rinse it out in the water. I also turn on the cold water because that's going to be the next step in your face treatment. I take the brush and I agitate it over the drain in the sink. It just helps get all the hairs and the soap out of it. I don't go crazy because you don't want to damage the hairs in the brush. Wring it out. Keep the water cold, or the cold water going, because you want that to be as cold as possible. While you take this, you just dry the tips. Just the tips. Beat the dickens out of it. You put your happy little brush back. Some of you are going, what? Others know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. While that's still getting cold, I'm just going to take a minute and wipe out my bowl. Now, I live on the 3rd floor of my building, so sometimes the water takes a bit to get just as cold as I want as it does to get hot. No big deal. Bowl is back. That water's pretty darn cold. Now you're going to take that cold water and really go to town on your face. Take a minute, rinse it. Rinse it for about as long as you can stand it. We'll be right back. Okay. Water off. Same thing. Dry. Next, instead of using an Allen block on my face, which is what a lot of people do, I use witch hazel. Pretty much does the same thing. Just no stinging effect. I save the stinging for the aftershave. There. Give that a minute to set in while you take care of your razor. Here's the deal. There are so many schools of thought on what you do with your razor when you're done shaving. If you shave every day, I suppose it's not going to hurt it just to wipe it off and put it back on the shelf. Leave the blade in even. However, I alternate razors, so I don't do that. I take it apart. Blade and all. Rinse the blade off. Don't ever wipe the blade. Just kind of dab it with a towel. A lot of these blades have a coating on them. You don't want to wipe it off. Just set that aside. Handle. I just give the pieces a little once over. You don't necessarily have to do this every time you shave. I do, but I have time to do that. Usually. If I don't, I at least take the razor apart and let it dry while I'm at work. I don't usually leave the blade sitting in it. Just in the event that if I end up being gone longer than I think, I just don't want the blade to rust. So then I put it back together, but instead of tightening it down, I leave it pretty loose. See how loose that is? That's enough to where the air can get inside there, and I put it away just like that. And that's where it sits until I shave again. Now the witch hazel had a chance to soak in, do its thing. Take my Allen block, put that away. When you store these and put it away, if this is the first time you've ever used an Allen block, don't put it away wet. Always dry it off, which I actually didn't do, but I'm doing that now. And then I always put it away leaning against something like this. Or if you can stand it straight up and down. Mine, as you can see, no longer stands straight up and down. So I just lean it against the shaving bowl and put it up on the shelf, and it's good to go. Now we get the aftershave. This stuff, I'm going to go with Cape Verde by Mickey Lee Soapworks. It's a great lavender based. Give it a good shake. When you apply aftershave, I see people do this. Fine. If it doesn't bother you, or you have an alcohol-free one, go for it. Me, there's some stinging involved. So I always, to get away from that, you slap your face and the stinging is not nearly as bad. There. That stuff smells so good. All right. Then I put the aftershave away. Wipe the sink down, hang up the towel. I'm good to go for the next day. So that is how I do my shave. That is my post-shave, my pre-shave, my post-shave, as well as all the stuff that's in the middle. If you guys like how I shave and you want to take it on, do the same way I do it, feel free. It works well for me. I get a baby butt smooth shave almost every time. And it works, like I said, it works really, really well for me. If it doesn't work well for you, then you don't have to do it. Just do what works for you. Take a couple pieces of this, take a lot of pieces of it, take none at all. Do whatever works for you. So, I appreciate you guys and girls for joining me during my face shave and my tutorial. I hope this helps for those of you that have asked for it. If you guys or girls have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe already, but make sure you knock that bell. That way you get a notification every time we do a new video here at CD Shaving. Folks, I am Chad. If you guys or girls have not shaved this evening, have a great shave, and we'll see you guys in the next video.